Hey everyone. Hello. Welcome to another edition of Friday Night Live, but also a special edition of Friday Night Live. I don't often have guests, but when I do, they are very, very special to me and hopefully can give you guys exactly what it is that you need. Um, yeah, I'm excited for tonight's conversation. So please drop in the chat, say hello, let me know you're here so I can shout you out. I do have some general housekeeping to get out of the way. So if you're meeting me for the very first time, hey girl, hey. Hey girl, hey. My name is Tracie Collins, and here on Friday Night Live on my YouTube channel, I discuss all things business, wellness, and my life here in Mexico. I am a business strategist and I help women in leadership create scalable, sellable businesses because I've done so myself. And the reason why I'm so excited, because how can I say this? I share information, but I'm very particular about to whom I share information with and who I share with y'all. And so if I'm bringing somebody forth, trust and believe these be people in my arsenal. These are folks that I like, okay, I need to call on for whatever reason. So, buenos dias, buenos tardes. Oh, hi, honey. My daughter is back in the States, but she's coming back. She had to go take care of some business. Hey, Khadijah. Hey, Dara. Congratulations. Can I shout you out really quick? Can I say it? Can I say it? Let me know if I can say it because this is a celebratory week for her and she has been just knocking down these milestones and I absolutely want to say it. So she has given me permission, so I am going to tell you guys. Dara, I call her Dara, but it's Dara, so y'all got to work with me. She has gotten her U.S. citizenship. So congratulations. She is not only Canadian but lineage of Trinidad and Tobago. And now she's also a US citizen. So she's around here collecting passports and citizenships, okay? So when we talk about like wealth and mindset and building, that is the kind of example that I am speaking about. Buenas tardes, D. What's up? You are going to enjoy tonight's conversation. Hey, mom. Hey, mom. Okay. So without further ado, I'm so excited because Masheka Turner, I came across her because I was reading a book years ago called Profit First. And in the book, they have their recommended accountants that they work with. And I was in the market for a new accountant for my business, for my company. And so we connected. I still lived in the States, was in Georgia, and I reached out to her. She responded to me immediately, and we met and we immediately started working together. And when I tell you guys, so I had already had an accountant, but I needed somebody a little bit better to take my company to the next level. And her team helped me do that. So any good business owners know you need your books in order, number one, but you also need a team eventually if your business scales to the level that you desire. You need a team to support that vision. And when I tell you, I always make fun of myself, really, but it just goes to show the kind of excellence that she provides. Is she put up with me and my temper tantrums? And I don't mean like outright temper tantrums, but I'm like, why am I doing this? Why make it make sense to me? And it made numerical sense because when you have a company and you make a certain amount of money and you have an LLC, but you eventually have to establish yourself as an S corp. So I was paying taxes on the front end and on the back end, and your girl was like, Masheka, April, because April is a team member of hers. I was like, why am I doing this? Why? And she would say, Tracie, you have to do it this way. And all I saw was taxes. All I saw was money going out on both ends. But when I tell y'all, when it came time to like setting my company up for success to sell, and all of my books were in order already, it is because of her and her team and how they handled everything. Because I then had to pass all of the information on so everybody could do their due diligence when it came to the negotiation process for selling my company. So This is one of the arsenals in my toolkit, y'all. So without further ado, she is going to come in tonight. And when I tell you, she's going to preach us a sermon. So she is from Tennessee, or she lives in Tennessee. I don't know if she's from Tennessee, but she's in Tennessee. So when you hear that Southern drawl and you feel like you in somebody's Baptist church, this is her. So,
Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. Hey,
hi, I am
Tracy.
so
Well,
happy
I am.
you're here. There's a little bit of a delay. I don't know if it's on my end or your end. Don't
Can you
worry
hear?
about
What
it.
about now?
Yes,
Okay,
perfect.
we're just gonna keep going with it.
Yes.
Okay. Well, as Tracy said, I am Masheka Turner. I am the owner of Bright Skies Business Services out of Nashville. So I am a Tennessee girl. I was born outside of Memphis, but I've been in Nashville since childhood. So that's where the Southern drawl comes from. But I want to jump right into it because Tracy said something that I want to make sure that we are aware of. So she said temper tantrums. We know what we think temper tantrums look like, but this is something that I have experienced. I've seen it in myself, but I see it in ladies, especially ladies business owners. And what the temper tantrum looks like is it doesn't look like you falling out on the floor and don't want to do something. It looks like avoidance. It looks
Mm,
like skipping the meetings. It looks like not wanting to do the meetings. It looks like money scares me a little bit. I don't want to know how much I have. I don't want to know how much I don't have.
mhm,
And this is the thing. We can ignore the money. Money is just like anything else. If
mhm.
you don't tell it what to do, it goes away. Point blank,
Or
period.
it's gonna tell you what you're gonna have to deal with.
Right, right. So either you're going to give it assignment or you're going to have to, you won't have options. Because at the end of the day, money gives us options. And
Right.
I mean, that's all we really looking for. You know,
Is
because we don't like being put in a box. I like some options.
right. Just really quick. I don't know. There's still like a little bit of a delay, and I want to make sure everybody catches everything that you have to say. Try going out and coming right back in, and then it'll hopefully clear up. It'll catch
So
up.
so hit leave and come back.
Yeah. So while she is adjusting and catching up, she's going to go out and come back in. You guys know that sometimes the internet is not our friend, or the wires, and so I want to make sure that you guys are here for this conversation. I want to make sure that you guys hear, you pick up everything Mashika is putting down. And this is my account, y'all. So when I tell I literally work with some badass women. I do, because I'm a badass girl, and that's what I need on my side. So here we go. All right, there
What
we
about
go.
now?
It's a
Cool,
little
cool.
bit. Yeah, I think so, but we're just gonna deal with it. Y'all just bear with us. Y'all push through with us, okay? And also, let me say this: people who are watching from Facebook and LinkedIn, I can't see your comments unless you go onto YouTube, and then I can see your comments from there. Just FYI. Okay, so let's get started. So just give the people just a little bit about your background and what you do to support your clients.
Okay, I'm gonna switch it to Wi-Fi and see if that'll make it better.
Oh yeah, because you're frozen. Yeah. Hold
What
on,
about
y'all.
now? Okay.
It's so funny because we didn't have issues before, and then all of a sudden, as soon as I hit go live, that's when it hit. Okay, so I'm bringing her back in. Sorry, you guys. Okay, say something. There we go.
Okay, so I switched it to the Wi-Fi. Does that make it better?
Yes, yes,
Cool.
yes.
Okay,
Being on
cool.
Wi-Fi.
All
Okay.
right. All right. So what we mainly do to support our clients is the first thing is we give them clarity about what is really happening in their business. And another thing we do is I want to take the worry away. And so even though we call it small business, it is everything when you're the person that's running it. It is
Yep.
everything. And so one of the main things we do is the bookkeeping and accounting. Nobody wants to do that. But since we have to do it, we help people take that data and make future decisions. How much can I pay myself? How much do I need to set aside for taxes? How much does this business cost me? because those are the real questions. And the thing about it is if you don't know what's coming in and what's coming out, not only can you plan for right now, you definitely can't plan for the future. And if you're wanting to scale or sell, those options are not even on the table because you don't have that in order.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. So, talk a little bit just about the profit first method.
Yes. So the profit first method started, it came out of New Jersey with Mike McAllowitz. He wrote a book called Profit First. And it came, I think the first versions came out maybe late 16, 17.
Hmm.
And at that time, I was still in corporate America. And that's where I got an awareness of it. And as I was making my exit and growing my firm, I decided to find out more about that process. And what Profit First is it's a business book, so don't get intimidated by it though. But one of the things that it does is it breaks it down. So no matter what type of business you're running, whether it's a dog grooming business or
Hmm.
whether it's a party promoter business, there are 5 areas of every business. There are the sales, there are the profit, taxes, owner's pay, and expenses. I don't care what kind of business you have, those are the 5 areas. Profit First teaches you how to give each area of your business an assignment with cash. That's the crux of it and the easy part of it.
I like how in the book he used an analogy of a turkey. Can you expound upon that, please?
Yes. So we think about a turkey. Actually, I think that was mine. He uses a toothpaste in Parkinson Law.
Okay,
Yes,
it was
that's
you.
mine, girl.
Okay, so the turkey. Okay, so the turkey. I thought it was in the book,
Yes.
but thank you for
Yes.
correcting.
So
Okay.
the turkey, so we think about it at the turkey. Never have we ever been in a situation where you put the turkey in front of you, you carve it all off, and then you get through eating what you want, and then you pass it to the next person. We carve that thing up. And so we carve it up. And so I want you to think about your money like that. Because what happens is a lot of times as business owners, we don't have a problem making money. It's the expenses that come with it. So we think, oh, I made some money, so it's time for me to spend. It's time for me to spend. And when I say don't spend, I'm not coming from a scarcity mindset, but I'm coming from a planning mindset because it needs to make sense, right? So if we carve it up, we can say, oh, I made $50,000 this month. But instead of just spending, 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 wait, let me stop. Let me go ahead and set my taxes aside. Let me go ahead and set my pay aside. Let me set a little emergencies aside in the business. Well, if you carve those things off, the business is forced to operate on what's left. That's
Hmm.
the simple of it. And
Hmm.
I think even though it seems simple, when you're running a business and caught in the day to day, if you don't have guidance in that, it's not that easy because you know it. As I said, you can be on the mountaintop in the morning and down in the valley in the afternoon. So many things are happening, so many emotions, so many feelings, and it's just not apparent what to do at any given moment. Nothing prepares us for this. We know that primary education, formal education, work experience, nothing prepares you for the journey of entrepreneurship. Absolutely nothing.
Right. Right. So let's get into it. Let's get into the nuts and bolts of why we are here. So today's topic is women, wealth, and mindset. Let's talk about mindset when it comes to making money and feeling that you are deserving to bring in the kind of money that you see for yourself to attain the lifestyle. So let's get into that because you got a whole bunch to add to that and I love it.
Yes. So the first thing I think everybody has to start with is, what is your personal money story? And
Mm,
sometimes we may have to go back in that because at this point, I have worked with hundreds, probably thousands of business owners between on stage and everything. And I have a lot of conversations about money. And money and your money story is at the heart of how we do things. It's at the heart of how we do things personally, professionally, and business. So let me give you an example. My mother, she was a southern lady, but baby, she was a hustler. My mother knew how to make money. I
Mhm.
mean, she was always involved in some kind of little thing. Some of them was a little gray, if I'm gonna be for real. But but she was always involved in something making money. Even as kids back in the 90s, it wasn't nothing for her to make $10,000 a month from something that she was doing. The only problem is she would make all this money. She would take a shopping, buy stuff, and at the end of the month, she would have nothing left.
Mhm.
Nothing. And so, even though my mother always made more money than the average person I know, long story short, when she passed, I wrote a check for her funeral. She had
Mhm.
nothing because
Mhm.
she didn't build any wealth from it. And growing up, that gave me a very weird paradigm about money.
Mhm.
One of the paradigms it gave me was you can make money, but you need to hold on to it so tight.
Mhm.
That is not the energy of money either, to
Mhm.
hold on to it so tight. Truth be told, money is a tool just like anything else, and it has to flow for
Right.
it to grow. And so, as I started getting more into it, really getting more into investments, a spirit of abundance came, and I realized, okay, you can't, even though I had money to pay my bills, I still was like, "Ugh." And it don't
Mhm.
feel good to be so tight with money, especially when you have enough.
Mhm.
And so, as I started getting more into it, I realized that was my money story. So, I realized there was so many things I had to unblock in me as I was going into business about not being too tight to pay for a coach when I knew there was an area of weakness, not being afraid to hire employees as my business grow because as you know to scale, you cannot be doing everything yourself. So
Right.
all of that of my own personal money story had to be touched and had to be healed. So as I mentioned my money story, I want everybody to think about what's your money story. What's that tender area when touched? A little bit of guilt sometimes come up,
Mhm.
sometimes a little bit of shame, sometimes anger because you feel like I didn't do the right thing. All of that stuff, I know it just seems like, girl, just make the money. A lot of times it's not that simple. We have to allow those areas to be touched and come up so that we can do what we have to do to make money. Because some people say, just raise your prices. If you got all this, I hope I can say this, all this shit in you, you can't even, because you're just so blocked up with it.
Mhm.
And like I say, even though I'm accountant and I get into the black and white of numbers, I have worked with so many people, and with my own journey now, I know that it is not just black and white numbers. It is a whole lot of other stuff going on with the energy of money.
So you touched on it, but let's talk about scarcity mindset versus an abundant mindset. One of the things that you do that I absolutely love, and you shared it, Mashika spoke to my leader group earlier this week on Tuesday, is that you build in quarterly vacations for yourself. And I love that. So let's talk about that.
Yes. So I do. So every dollar I make right now, every dollar my business makes, I have set 10% aside, and that 10% goes to at the end of every quarter, 5% goes to me, 5% goes into the business. And so what that looks like for me is whatever my 5% of revenue is for the quarter, I go on a vacation every quarter. That's how I fund my investments because I'm also a real estate investor as well as other investments. And the reason why I feel so good doing that and building my vacations in is not only do am I building something for myself, but we also got something for the business. So because I'm always saving for the business as well, if somebody says, "Hey, there's an event or there's a course that you want to take," I don't have to say no, I can't take it because I'm always not only putting money into the business, but I'm also putting into myself. Because let's be real, everybody that has ever owned a business, things have been tight. And it is
Mhm.
not a good feeling when things are tight and you do not have it. So to just go ahead and build it in, it makes life easier. It really does make life easier. And I sit here and not going to say too that I haven't had some moments where things are low in my business. And if things are a little lower than normal, that's another good reason to be saving, because come out of nowhere, something happens and three laptops crash. You got to
Mhm.
have that money from somewhere.
Mhm.
So just like I say, just really being open to the idea of abundance, because one of the things that we've been taught too is just save, 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 do. And the thing about it is absolutely we should be doing those things, but life is also about enjoying too. And the more you can give yourself and the more you can enjoy and the more abundance you can give yourself, guess what? It opens it up to more. Because to me, now this is just to me, if you got it in your mind, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, that's how it's going to be. It's always going to feel like you can't do this, you can't do that.
Right. That's why I start my day off with gratitude. Before I even can fully come into being awake, I always show gratitude, like giving thanks, waking up in meditation or prayer, just being grateful because I want my day to move in that direction and that energy, but also speak to the fact that I want more to be grateful for. But I must first be grateful for what I have now and where I'm at now. And so, if you guys, one key component and trick about operating in an abundant mindset is operating in gratitude. If you struggle with operating in abundance, start with gratitude. That's like the simplest thing. Get a gratitude journal and write what you're grateful for. And what happens is you'll find out that you will be able to keep going and going and going. And then once you really have that embedded into your psyche, into your core, then the universe is like, okay, I got you. Now let me give you something else to be grateful for. So I love that. I love that. So I want to talk about like self-worth. How do you deal with like self-worth and abundance?
Okay. May I give one more trick
Oh
too that
yeah,
I've
go
learned
please,
about gratitude?
please.
So I'm a lady of a certain age, and so sometimes we wake up in the middle of the night. And this is something else I'm doing. I also practice gratefulness. Instead of just kind of laying there thinking about my day, I just literally start counting blessings. So I'll just like from my head down, I'll be just thinking for a sound mind, thinking for a healthy body. I think about everything that I'm grateful for in my life until I fall back to sleep. So I said, instead of counting sheets, I'm gonna count blessings.
Yeah, I do that too. Sometimes I'll do it and then I'll fall back asleep.
Great
Yeah,
minds.
that's so true. That's so true. Okay, so self worth. How has that impacted your self worth? Just moving in an abundance mindset. I'm gonna go change my shirt, so I'm gonna remove myself and leave you on camera and let you talk about it.
No
Because I'm
problem. No problem. So how that looks for me as far as self-worth, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm just like anybody else, I've had my bouts with insecurity, bouts with all of it. But again, I had to go back to my story and why did I feel insecure about certain things. I really had to go back to childhood. I know it sounds kind of crazy and some of y'all might not want to go back that far, but I really did have to go back to that and just realize if you're going to go through all of this to start a business, why be in struggle? Why be in struggle? If you're gonna go through this and try to serve people, how can you truly serve people with a grateful heart if you are struggling? And so I say that because of another thing that I see in women a lot, and when I say women, I'm also talking about myself in this, is we have a problem with charging. We have a problem with charging. Sometimes we even have a problem with even having the conversation about what our prices even are. So I will say divine compensation. If you know that you are providing a great product and service and you are going out of your way to provide it, there is no harm in charging. There is no harm in charging what you're worth.
I don't have an issue in that department.
Yeah, yeah, but a lot of times it is.
No.
Well, because coming from corporate America too, let's just be real. You don't even really have to, you don't have to know how to sell. You don't know have to know how to, all you need to do is just show up and do what you do. So when you come on this side, it's a very different world. I mean,
Mm.
just in our society, we're not really taught to have money conversations. And I really hate it that a lot of us women have bought into this. Let them handle the money. I'm just gonna lay back and wait on somebody to do for me. And again, I'm not knocking it, hey, sprinkle, sprinkle. But The truth is that that's not for a lot of us. That's not gonna happen. We're gonna wait, and we're gonna wait, and I'm just saying, So if you can do it, make it work. But truth be told, if I can do it myself, I'm just gonna do it. That's
Mm-hmm.
just what it is. I mean, because at the end of the day, even though they say step back, let us handle it all, there is freedom when you have your own. There is freedom. And even if you got a good man and he doing it all, or a good woman and she doing it all, baby, if you got your own, it ain't nothing like it.
That's
Nothing.
true. That is absolutely true. Absolutely true. Okay, I'm gonna do a sidebar really quick. What do you got to say right now during this not political climate, but economic effect that's happening? And with the person in the White House today and business ownership. What I'm seeing is there are a lot of people who are afraid. Like this is not the time. I'm too afraid to pull the trigger. I'm too afraid to invest in myself or bet in myself or take things to the next level when it comes to my business. Are you seeing the same thing? And I'm equating it to COVID. It reminds me of like if you can start a business or scale your business during this particular time and during hard times, then it makes it so much easier when things level out. And it creates a level of tenacity and information and education that you can maximize during times like this. What are you seeing?
So I am seeing some fear. But I'll be honest with you, I work a lot with business owners. A lot of people are still moving forward with their plans. They are still moving forward with their plans. And then I'm going to be honest with you. This is just me. A lot of times when I start getting caught up in this fear and what's happening on the news, I lean into my grandmother. I think about Maggie Ellen and I think about Gloria Dale, my mother and my grandmother. And I'm like, baby girl, no matter what you're going through, you never had to go through what Maggie and Gloria went through.
That's true.
Baby, this ain't nothing. You know what it is. This
That's
ain't nothing. And it's like,
mm-hmm.
what's going to happen is going to happen. And
Mm-hmm.
so every time I do that, I've really just gotten into the spirit of calling on my ancestors, and I'm like, if your grandmama made it, I know you're not complaining about this shit. That's just me.
So you kind of touched on something. I pulled up some notes that I wanted to make sure we cover some key points. But how do you see the difference with Black women in money versus white women money?
So a couple of things I see with Black women and money. So I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of times, are we talking about money in general? Or are we talking about money in business, or just both of them?
Money in general, and the aspect of deserving and charging with your worth. But also, I want to add to this the level of qualifications that we have above all else.
So I'm gonna say this, especially if you're gonna start a business, don't take your ass back to school. I'm sorry. If you already doing it, you just need to get out there and start charging for it. You don't need some things. You don't. Don't get me wrong. There are some things, doctors, lawyers, whatever, whatever. But 90% of the things we doing, you don't need to pay for nothing else. You don't
Mm,
need no another degree to do that. You don't need another certification, baby. You just need to hang your shingle out and start doing it. Now, and I don't mean to be fussing, but that's just what it is. But
mhm,
also, that's a part of it too. Because, hey, I done that too. The whole graduate school, the whole thing. And we just think, okay, I think a lot of times, I'm gonna be real, we say education is the easiest thing for me to do, so I can
mm,
do that. And then sometimes, if I'm gonna be real, sometimes it becomes a delay tactic. So it's
mhm,
like I want to open up this consulting. I've been doing this for 20 years. I know how to do it. And but maybe I'll go back to school 2 more years, and then it'll give me time to think about it and see what I really want to do, when you could have been and made $40,000-$50,000 in the 2 years doing it part-time. I mean,
mhm,
for real, if we're gonna be for real about it. But
mhm,
a couple of things that I see with us, I see it with women in general, but what I see with us, I really want us to open up to abundance. And we don't have what we don't have. And a lot of times we've been used to just getting stuff done. But the
mm,
truth be the truth be told, We can get things done, but if you don't know how to market, you don't know how to market, baby. You got to pay somebody to help you with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you don't understand finances, you don't understand finances. But I think a lot of times because we are in survival mode, so we're just thinking, I have to figure it out. And truth be told, a lot of things you can figure it out eventually, but by the time it takes you a year or so to figure it out, you could have got somebody that knew what the hell they was doing and got it done in a month, and you could have been on to bigger and better. If truth is gonna be told, and I'm ministering to myself as I say this, because it is hard for us, because a lot of times, we think we have to have the answers, but sometimes we just don't have the answers. We have
No.
different, right, we all have different talents, and we
Right.
just don't have the answers. And there's actually a book called Who Not How, and the
Mm-hmm.
premise of the book is, instead of trying to figure out how, just find you a who, get it done.
Look at this comment. That is hilarious. Loki
But
Turner,
baby,
I got some
I'm
help.
tearing you up with love.
She is. She is. That comment made me forget the next thing I was gonna
And
say.
that's funny because, baby, my mentor and my business coach, when I first got into this, I would be focused on the wrong thing. And I'm just
Girl,
gonna be here. She'd be like, "Girl, you ain't got no money. Why the hell is you over there worrying about that?"
I literally just had a conversation with one of my clients. Let's cut the bullshit. Like, we can deal with that later. This is what I need you to do. And I'm gonna walk you through getting it done right now because we need to focus on the dollar. I literally just had that conversation. We can work on all of that other stuff, but we need to not delay the dollar. And so we do. We focus on the wrong things versus cultivating one good offer. All you really need is one.
That's
And
it.
and that one good offer will teach you, will learn how to market, you will learn how to sell, you will learn what works, what doesn't work, what your audience wants, what it doesn't want, and your messaging becomes refined because of that.
You are exactly right. And that's what it is. All you need is just one good offer. And that's another thing too. That's another thing. We do entirely too much. And don't get me wrong.
I've been
I
a
understand
victim of
about the hustle.
yeah, I do. Yeah.
We
And
do
it's
too much.
just because you can, it doesn't mean you have to.
That's it. But we do too much. It's like, we're doing taxes, we're doing hair, we're grooming dogs, we're doing this. And the truth be told, if you put your focus into one thing, you can make 3 times as much money with you running around, because all you're doing is spitting it out and burning your energy. And I'm not saying this as a person preaching. I'm saying this because I have done it myself, tried to do too many things, be too many things to too many people. I mean, because I had to get to a point, even in my business, just because we are a accounting firm, we don't work with every kind of business. There are
Right.
some businesses that got too many complexes. I don't even care to figure out what they got going on.
Right.
Baby, refer them to somebody else and work with the people who you know how to help. I knew how to help coaches and consultants. So that's why I knew how to help you. But if I'm over here trying to figure out manufacturing, we do too much sometimes. So that is one thing. And like I said, one thing that I see with ladies in general is, especially when things get tight, we shut down. We
Mm.
cannot shut down when it comes to money. We got to always know what's happening.
But to me, I look at it like the reverse. That's the time that you go harder. Like, to me, that's just a motivating factor. What the I need to do to switch this shit up real quick so we can just make the adjustment. But to me, I also think that that speaks to a seasoned business owner versus somebody who is either a novice or a beginner. When you season, you say, okay, this isn't working. This is what we're facing. This is what the economy is dealing with. This is what we need to switch up and do. So
Yeah.
so let's talk about marketing really quick. And
Yes.
how do you with your firm and in your business, what have been the best things that have worked for you from a marketing aspect?
So for my particular business, the best thing that works for me is, my business is very relationship. A lot of times people, they have to feel comfortable with the money thing. And so A lot of my business comes from referrals, which we can't just rely solely on that. And LinkedIn has been, I've been using LinkedIn heavy since 17. And what that looks like is you need to show up every day and let people know what you're doing, because that's another thing too. When people fall back, they kind of fall back with the marketing. But this is the thing, especially if you keep doing this, if you keep showing up, even if people are not ready to work with you right now, because you kept showing up, they remember you.
That's
Because
true.
you keep putting your information out there, because you keep work in your network, because you keep showing up. Because a lot of times, because people get discouraged, they'll say, well, I've kind of slowed things down a bit. And then if an opportunity comes, you're not ready to go. So
Mm,
so that's the big thing is, really, it depends on what you're doing, but really looking at your network, looking at how it's put out there, and just keep showing up. Really
mhm.
keep showing up. And then the clients that you're already working with, how many times do we ask them,
For a
hey,
referral.
mm-hmm, absolutely, absolutely.
And you know what else too is building up that Google My Business review page. Because what I know for a fact is reviews keep you paid, because those are not your words. Those are people who have encountered or experienced you from a professional level or your business. And people believe what other people say, and they also want what other people have.
Okay, you took the words out of my mouth, because I was going to say the Google review. Now I want to say about that. That don't happen overnight.
You
From what
know?
I'm seeing, it really takes about maybe 2 to 3 years to really get that up. But you need to always be asking clients and customers to share their experience. And especially if you know a person has had a particularly great experience, you know
Mhm.
they was smiling and they was happy, you go ahead and send them that link. Or if they right there with you, go ahead and get them to do that, because people do need to know. And then I'm gonna be real with you. I'm just gonna be real with you. Since I think most of us are melanin dominated. Sometimes they gotta hear other people say, you know what you're doing too. And I'm not saying that that's but that's just what I'm seeing. That is what I'm seeing.
Agree. They need somebody else's validation to put the stamp on. Well, and we notorious for that. Well, I'm just gonna wait and see. Well, I don't know. They just got started or they just put themselves out there. That's why I always say, put yourself out there. People are watching. It don't matter. It don't matter what they talking about. It don't matter if they talking about you. Keep showing up. Keep putting yourself out there, because at least it will take you to the bank.
That's exactly it. And then this is the gag, as Kiki say. While you, with all this experience, all of this knowledge, holding back, it's some joker out here that don't know his as from a
A
doorknob,
whole
out here
They
cleaning
are.
up, ripping people off, and you actually know what you're doing, and you holding back.
And I tell my leaders, or I tell women that work with me, I'm like, have the audacity of a white man, of a mediocre white man. Because I mean, a below mediocre white man is running the White House,
Baby, because they will get that money if they don't get nothing else.
purposely inside trading, tanked the market, brought it back up so his billionaire friends can make more money. Mediocre at best.
That's it. I remember my first accounting mentor. I was in a group, and it was led by a white man. And girl, he would send that material. Half of the time, it would be misspelled. It would be what? But guess what? He got that $5,000 from me. And I used this stuff, and it worked. I mean, and so we just, and I'm not saying to be putting stuff out there like that, but we just overthink it, and we overthink ourselves right out of the money.
Right.
So
Y'all have
just keep it simple.
Right. And that's another thing I've been preaching a lot is like, keep it simple, stupid. That whole kiss, keep it simple, because one of the things that I know about people in our level of digesting information, number one, is so much information out there. It's so much information. So how are you going to stand out? Keeping it simple, stupid, making sure that your offer, your verbiage on your website speaking to just the regular, average, everyday person, because sometimes people don't know that your business is needed until they see your business. They don't know that you're doing it or you have the key message. It's about the consistency, the showing up, and making sure that they can understand what you are offering.
I love that you said that because not that much now, but at one time I used to go to a lot of networking events, and I would talk to people and they would tell me what they do, and I'm standing there like,
What?
okay, yes. And it's like, keep it simple.
Mhm.
So just keep it simple. So I'm gonna put you to like Lifetime, for example. If you watch Lifetime, the title of the movie says it all. The woman locked in the closet. You ain't gotta figure out, do I want to watch this? Because you know what it's about.
She
The
like,
teenager, the pregnant teenager next door. It's got to be that
true.
simple.
They do that. You can dump titles.
Right. So you
They
don't have to sit there. You don't have to sit there and think about, is this movie about a man over in England? They done told you. It's about the pregnant teenager next door. You know what it is. So you can decide if you want it or if you don't want it. But it just comes down to this: a great offer that solves problems.
Mhm.
That's really what it is, and whether it's a product or a service. And the thing about it is if you've already established that you can solve that problem, then you just need to keep doing it over and over and over again and refining it. So,
Mhm.
okay, I solved that problem. I solved that problem for nurses. If you figured out nurses is the people, okay, then you scale it down even more and you
Mhm.
go even deeper and you go even deeper. And the next thing you know, you got a whole niche that serves nurses. That's all it's about. It's just solving the hell out of a problem.
And oh, I love that you said that because you don't want to offer everything to everybody. You don't want that kind of business. If you are a McDonald's, that means your product is going to be mediocre. You
That's
want
it.
a product of excellence. You want a product of high value, and you want a clientele that will pay you without question and who are happy to pay you. But it takes that particular strategy to even get there. I love that. Oh my God. Okay, so you guys, I just dropped my masterclass that's starting on Wednesday. I dropped the link in there. It's a 4 to 6 week masterclass. And these are some of the topics that we're going to be covering in there, but y'all can check the link and click. Okay, keep going because I want to
Yeah.
continue that
No,
conversation.
but there's actually a saying. Some people say niche, some people say niche, but there's riches in that. And
Mhm,
there are some people, they have realized that there are a specific group of people that have a problem, and they have dedicated themselves to figuring out everything about solving that particular group of people's problem. And
mhm,
that's how you get rich, because you become specialized. So think about the surgeon, the heart surgeon. There's a reason why the heart surgeon and the general practitioner are not paid the same,
mhm,
because he's specialized
mhm,
or she's specialized.
mhm. Do y'all have questions? Please make sure that you drop your questions in the chat if you do, because I want to make sure that we highlight them and we get those questions answered. Please share this video. Please like this video. Please send this video to others that you may think would need it and will find it valuable. Also, Masheka's information is linked in the description, just in case you guys were wondering, and how to get in contact with her. So I took care of that already. Her information is in the description. So, okay. So let's talk about, we're talking about all of this do, but let's talk about like how do we like rest and making sure that rest is a part of that wealth mindset, like is a part of that abundance mindset. That is an area that Black women struggle in, is feeling deserving to rest. And oftentimes you will hear, well, I'll rest when I die, or you gonna rest when your body is about out of here. So let's talk about how important it is to embody the mindset of rest.
Yes. So rest is definitely important. And that's one of the reasons why I'm very big on finding your who. As quickly as you can, find your who, so that you can get somebody to do that for you. Because this is the thing: when we're not properly rest, when we don't get our proper rest, we're not thinking is clear. We're
Mhm,
usually on edge a little bit. There's a lot going on. So rest is very, very important. And especially if you're trying to scale, really think about, what is it in my business right now that I need that I don't
Oh
have
my God.
within me?
Oh, I'm so glad you told. I totally forgot about this. I created a business pulse checkpoint because oftentimes people don't know where they're struggling in their business. So I actually have the link. I was going to share the link. This was a
Okay,
part of
so that's a good segue into it. No, seriously though,
my
and
housekeeping.
and this is why you need to be in community and connection with other people that are doing it. Because truth be told, we know that friends and family and people that's not doing it, they got so much advice. You need
Girl.
somebody that's actually done it. This lady has actually operated a business, scaled a business, and sold it. Your neighbor next door, uh-uh. And a lot of times that's what, we'll get so bogged down in what they have to say that we're not even in community with the people who've actually done it. Because nobody's going to get you there quicker than somebody that's actually done it.
Hmm.
So
And
that's the first thing.
it was a part of my freedom, but I love the fact you said get in community with people who have done it. Because when we talk about like being in alignment, being in community with people who are and moving in the same direction as you or direction where you want to go in, it is imperative that you join community because it's gonna help you refine yourself even better and better and stronger, and not only as an individual but if you offer a business, a product or a service, primarily a service. I don't operate in the product space. I have products, but I don't work with business owners who are in the product space. That is a whole different lane. And so when we talk about being in the online space, for me it allowed me to scale but also have a sense of autonomy that I needed and was looking for. I love that, being in community. And let's talk about that. And that was actually the next segue. How your network is your net worth. It's so cliche, but how it's so true.
Absolutely. And I would say that not only in business but professionally, I have found, and it's not that you try to do this, but I found that as you start growing more into this, your interests change, your circle changes a little bit.
Your conversation changes.
Yes, and that's a part of the why the circle change. And so for me, it starts on the personal side. So one of the things that I am very big on, especially at this part in my life, is my health. Because this is the thing, no matter what our dreams are for our life, no matter what our vision is, it can only manifest through your body.
Hmm.
If your body if you're not taking care of your body and it's unhealthy, it is going to be very hard to manifest those things.
Hmm.
So not only is that a concern for me, but the ladies in my circle, we're giving each other permission. Girl, what's going on with your stomach? Why we looking a little, and we need somebody to do that for us. We need somebody to, hey girl, we usually go walking twice a week. What happened to you last week? Just because and just really holding us accountable for the things that we want to do. And it's not necessarily about a judgment, because I know that people get very sensitive about things. But let's be real. Sometimes we need a little boost.
Hmm.
Sometimes we need a little boost. And I key off of Tony Fine, but some of that stuff she be saying be on point. I mean,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
anyways, but no, seriously though, and we need that for business. If you were supposed to put out your marketing campaign and you're afraid to go up on your prices, maybe you just need to put it together and have your VA send it out for you if you can't do it. But
Hmm.
but you need to be in community to talk through other people. Talk to people about just a lot of things. And this is another thing too, because we're not even exposed to this. Advisory boards, coaching programs, a lot of times us, especially us as Black people, we're not we're not even aware of coaching outside of a sports capacity. There is a whole world of coaching, advisory boards, that things that people are getting, that I'll be honest with you, I didn't even have an awareness of until I was over on this side. And
Hmm.
I'm like, wow, you need to tell me they have all this and we didn't even know about it. So
Hmm.
the more you get in community with people, the more you can find out. The more you talk to people that have scaled their business, because there's always another level. You start at 250. And then you got to do something else to get to 500.
You
And you got
sure
to do
do.
something else to get to a million, something
That's
else
right.
to get to three, something else to get to five, something else to get to beyond that. And
Mm-hmm.
every level is going to take a different, more is going to have to come out, if not completely a different version of you, but more is going to have to come out. And I'm gonna be honest with you too, we have to focus on too being kind, not nice. And when I mean that, I don't mean cutthroat, but
Child.
sometimes we so nice, we want to accommodate everybody.
Can't I
And
want to.
Bill and Johnny and them, they're not doing that. They
Mm-mm.
thinking about what they need to do to take their business to the next level. And
Mm-hmm.
they're kind, but not nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean that in a nasty, ugly way, but I'm just gonna say it. Well, shit, you done got me out here. You done got me loose, so I'm just gonna say it.
That's what you
we,
here
I
for.
know it. I know it. We are so worried about how we are perceived.
I was
Somebody's gonna
just
call me
saying
masculine.
that. I was
Somebody's
just
gonna call me, and it's like, first of all, the people who saying this, a lot of times it's a bunch of bull crap. Anyways, I'm just
and
gonna say it.
they're below you. They're making less than you. Their network is not as strong or reachable as yours is. They're and I hate to say it
Trying to
that
pull
way,
you down.
but they're trying to pull you, thank you, to their level. And you're above them in what you do and what you
Right.
offer and who you surround yourself with. The people that talk the most should do the least.
They talk. That's what they do. And I've just started embracing it. So when people start talking about masculine, whatever, 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 I'm like, it don't even matter. And then let's just be real with it. Let's just be real, especially us as black women. Never, we don't even come from a mint julep sitting on the porch type of things. A lot of times, shit, we warriors and we don't need, and so I'm like, you know what? Instead of trying to let somebody trying to shame me for being, I'm just gonna be me. Because the
Mhm.
thing about it is, if it was so easy for you to fall back and just be, then you wouldn't have a problem doing it. But the
Mhm.
reason why you can't do it because it's a betrayal of you. It's often a betrayal of us. And
Mhm.
so we have to be careful of anybody that's wanting us to be watered down, anybody that's wanting us to be humbled,
Then I
anybody
don't
that's wanting us
even
to
that
dim our
word.
light.
I stopped saying humble in a relationship to me. Why? I'm damn good at what I do. Check my references. Literally Google me. Like I do that for you. Why? Why do I have to dim my light to make you comfortable? Why do I have to use terminology that's not befitting of me?
Exactly. Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's what it is. And so, and then not only that, it takes energy for that. And so that's why I'm always like, just be who you are. Be
Yeah.
who you are and operate in your gift. You can't go wrong with that. You cannot go wrong with that. And like I said, but don't get caught up in that, because particularly now, I think a lot of us as a collective, we're starting to lean into, I'm that girl. I can get it done. And people literally are pissed off that we are finally becoming aware of who we've always been.
Yeah. I agree
That's
with that.
really what it is, because I can't use your talents for my development anymore. That's
Hmm.
really what it is. It's not so much that you're discovering it, but you're not willing to put it all into me anymore. And and it's like, you already got it, baby. Just do it. And you deserve it. I mean, because like you said, you mentioned COVID. A lot of people didn't come on the other side of that.
Right.
So,
Right.
it's kind of arrogant to think that we always going to be here, that we can always fulfill our dreams in 10 years. That's arrogant, because we don't know the day or the hour. If
Right.
you got it, let's just do it and
Right.
start somewhere. Maybe you don't need to quit your job right now, but what can you do right now part-time until you
Mm.
build it up? But just
Let
do something.
let your job be your investor for your business. That is exactly what I always tell people. Someone asked me recently, do you think I should? No, you should absolutely let your job. There is no shame in having a 9 to 5. If that is where you need to go to get what you need to get done, it's like let that job be that investor for your business always until your business
Absolutely.
can sustain itself.
Absolutely. I mean, I've known people in corporate, and they were like, okay, I'm gonna do it 2 more years, get my house paid off, get my things paid off, so that when I do quit, I can go into it with some peace.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, the job literally is always the first investor.
Mm-hmm. That's true. You know, I always say I was a horrible employee, but I was a horrible employee because I don't know, me and exits. I'm an exit strategy girl because I was creating exit strategies when I would work, for the people, but I would never be that type of employee where I would decorate my desk and have things there because I knew I wasn't going to be there long. So I was already preparing for my exit even then. Oh, wow. And y'all know a fun fact about me. I've always exited relationships. I've never been left.
Wow.
I've never been left. They don't like me when they
Right.
leave or when I leave them, but I don't give a shit about that. But I have always operated with the exit in mind. Now, fortunately, I'm blessed with somebody where we thugging this thing out. But it's imperative that we always have a strategy for the end.
I love it. I love it. I wish I had had that mindset when I was younger. Because truth be told, I was planning on retiring from corporate America, and I probably would still be there if it wasn't for an awareness. And it goes back to what you were saying about qualification and experience. I would never forget this. At this time, I probably had 2 degrees, a master's degree, 15 years experience, and there was a YT man making $10,000 more than me.
Mm,
And I was like, what? And they gave me some bull crap about a different job code. And I'm like, we sitting in the same area doing the same thing. And that pissed me off. And I thought, you know what? There's no use to you being mad at these people. This they stuff. And that right there is what started the seed of me saying, I'm gonna get my own and I'm gonna do my own thing. And it was not where I just quit the next day. It took me 3 years to get to the point where I could leave that job. But this is the crazy part. Even though I was doing my thing part time on a part time, taking meetings, whatever, whatever, I was still doing more work
mm,
than the TEDs in my office. So my
mm,
boss couldn't even call me out on anything because I was still doing more work. And
mhm,
then I went through this point of, okay, you created this job for yourself. So if you don't have enough money because you're not charging enough, you have nobody to blame but yourself. So then
mhm,
I had to go into that. So it's
mhm,
like constantly pulling up things, constantly self-discovery. But but that's where a lot of that's where it started from is I was appalled. I could not believe that they
mhm,
would do that to me.
mhm.
And I just couldn't see it the same way. And that's what it was.
Yeah, well, let's talk about pricing yourself at value. That particular topic, this topic of like pricing ourselves at value is something I'm extremely passionate about. I met with one of my clients this past week and I was talking about creating her high value offer. And it doesn't have to sit on the front page of your site, but this is the client that we are aiming for. This is the client. Now, when I tell you this is a highly degreed, highly skilled woman in her business, and she is making companies millions and millions, and I'm talking about the companies that she has in her arsenal are Fortune 500 like Nvidia. She has there was another, the Emmys, like she has companies that she is working with. And when I told her, because she's in the process of launching her own now, thank God, and she says, I gave, she mentioned a price and I said that's not enough. And she looked at me. She says, "Well, I want to speak to where I'm at now." I said, "That's not what we're doing. We are talking to the client that we are aiming to have. We're not worried about what we have right here. We have to pay attention to where we're going." So now when we're talking about cultivating an offer for that high value client, now let's talk about numbers. And she looked at me when I dropped the number for her and she was like, wow. Even in her level of skill set, her level of experience and expertise, when I dropped that five-figure number for a client that she is aiming and can absolutely serve without a blink in the eye, she herself was like, wow. And so speak to that, but then I also want to talk about some mindset books that we can drop for the people. Uh-oh, is she there? Am I frozen? Let me know if I'm frozen, because Mashika, you're frozen. Okay. Let me know if I'm frozen, because I think she is. Okay. Say something in the chat. Okay. Okay, I'm good. So she's frozen. So I want to expound on that. So I'll bring her out, and then I know she'll come back in to. Okay, she's getting her internet straight. So with that being said, we talked about when I said that to her, and she said, no, I'm going to have to work on mindset. And that is one of the things that I see in my business with my clients, because I work with women who are such high achievers that they want to attract the high achieving client or the high value client, but they don't know how to get there. So you back. Okay.
Yes, yeah, I don't know what happened. It just froze. But anyways, it's amazing to me. It's like, what do you mean where you at? You've already done all of this. You
Hmm.
are there. You already there.
Hmm.
So let me ask you this, because even though you told her that, did she accept that? And when I say accept it, because we can't just say yes with our mouth. We have to say yes in our bodies. We have to say yes, mind, body, and soul. Did
Hmm.
she say yes to making that offer, mind, body, and soul? Because I think that's something that we don't talk about. A lot of times we have to talk our nervous system through saying yes to things.
Hmm. She said yes, but we are following up with books. We are following up with some mindset tools to help her fully embody it. Because one of the things about what I know about pricing yourself at value is if you can't say your price without flinching, then nobody else is going to believe you and think that you deserve to be paid what you're asking. So that's the long answer of that. She came to the realization that, yes, Tracie, I hear you. Yes, Tracie, I'll do it. However, I need to wrap my brain around this because, and I said to her, I think I said it to her. If I didn't, I definitely thought it. The company that you're working for now, do you think what you're getting paid, that's what they're charging these clients? You're getting paid pennies on the dollar what they're charging that particular client. We're removing the middleman. Now it's just going to be you and said client. So,
And that's all it is. I mean,
eh,
and that's, yeah, wow. I hope she takes it. I mean,
oh, she
I hope
is.
she says
She,
yes, because
she, she
that's
is,
awesome.
because what I do is I get in there and I help them cultivate their offers. And you are going to start practicing your elevator pitch. You are going to start practicing your speeches, because I want you to be able to spew off. This is my $50,000 offer. If you want to work with me, this is my $100,000 offer, and here's the contract.
And that's
It's
all it is,
so
because you're
simple.
already doing it.
It's so simple because, but you're right. And now we're removing the middleman. But I see Black women who are high achievers who have an issue with charging. And that is that epigenetics that is embedded so deeply within us. You guys are the work mules. You guys are to the laborers. You are not supposed to be the high value earner.
Yes, yes. And I think that's why there's so much chaos right now in the world, because as a collective, we're slowly getting that.
Mm-hmm.
And like you say, because, we always knew what they could do. But damn it, now they know what they can do.
Come on now.
That's the crux of it. But like you say, that's what it is. And this is the thing. If we know that's how everybody else is seeing us, we got to work hard, because we can't see ourselves like that. Because
Mhm.
like you said, it's one thing to say that's what you're gonna do, but like you say, you cannot flinch when you say it. This is my price. What day do you want it to draft it out of your account?
Right. Right.
I mean, because what are we talking about? And people start that hemming and hawing, because you perfected your offer so well, you move right on along.
And
But
then you can also, I mean, you can get as bold, and you should. What happens if you don't work with me? What's the other side of this equation? Let's have that conversation and
that's it.
have it in real time. What does that look like for you? Where are you now? Okay, so that's the reason why you booked this conversation or this consultation with me. So let's just talk about what happens if you don't.
And that's exactly where you start. And that's what I mean about leaning into pain points. So when we're on these calls or however we set that up, are we really, like you say, we're letting them do the talking? Because if they
Hmm.
made the point to call you, they're going to tell you what their pain is. And that's one of the reasons too why the specialized is even better. Because if you work exclusively with this group, you already know there's usually 4 or 5 pains that this particular business have. If you can speak to exactly what that pain is, and
Hmm.
like you say, okay, so you're having A, B, C, D. We can help you with this because I know that that happens around this time because you already know that type of business. Like you
Hmm.
say, what happens if you don't work with me? And
Hmm.
people will be back or they'll make a decision today.
This is true. That's
But
absolutely
that's
true.
all you need is a great offer and keep offering it over and over again. And that is where riches come from. That's simple.
Hmm. This is absolutely true, Morgan, what you said. If I heard a white woman business owner say, the more you charge, the more people will believe your value and willing to pay it. That is absolutely true. And you know what? If your offer is too low, for some reason it's not getting out. Okay, if your offer is too low, people won't buy it because they won't see the value in it.
That yes, or they will take it, but they won't value your time. They won't show up to meetings. They won't because you're not charging them enough.
Hmm.
You are that is exactly right. Well, this is the thing. Perception is reality. And
Hmm.
so if somebody has a service and they say it's $1,500 a month, but you're offering that same service for $350 a month, people already it could be the exact same thing, but people already have it in their mind. This is something different than that.
Hmm.
And a
Hmm.
lot of times that's all YT did. It's the same thing. It's just that they had the audacity to ask that much for it.
Yeah.
And people as they assume, oh, okay, okay. They say they can do this, they can do that. Okay, well, I'm gonna go over there with them because
Hmm. It
I
must
mean,
be
and
better.
I talk to clients almost every day that pay a lot of money for terrible experiences. So
Hmm.
that's another thing that kind of spurred me on too. I would talk to people and I would say, well, when is the last time you had a meeting? Well, we don't have meetings. So I was like, okay, well, we know we haven't been checked. We need to raise the price on the strength of that.
We have a meeting, so we just booking the meet.
But seriously, no, they pay these people and they ain't even met with them in a year and a half. And I'm
Wow.
like, okay, well, we know we haven't meetings.
Mm.
Seriously, but
Yeah.
and like you say, because we go above and beyond, but we
Hmm.
don't charge for it. And I want us to be thinking about even getting into that business owner mode. Because I'll be honest with you, especially as you start to scale, and Tracy, you can speak to this. Working on the business and working in the business are two different energies, and it
Hmm.
is very exhausting to go back and forth.
Yeah.
You got to work on it or you got to work in it.
Hmm.
And I find that every time I get back into working with clients, doing stuff behind the scenes, whatever, then that's when this starts to fall.
So it goes down.
That's it. So it's like you stay over here. So the way I put it out there is I'm going to catch the fish. All I need y'all to do is clean them and serve them.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that works. And then the more I get into catching the fish, we'll get the salesperson and we can refine what they do. And eventually I can step away from that and step more into my speaking. But that's it.
Hmm. It was so interesting because the same principles that I used. So for those of you guys who don't know, I had a practice in Oakland. And when I moved to Atlanta, I sold my practice in Oakland. And then I built the company. And I built the company, I scaled it, and I sold it. And so now I'm doing the same thing. And I'm doing it differently because there are things that I learned along the way that I'm applying now. And so I just said to myself this week, I want to get to a point where I have a salesperson. I just said that this week because it is imperative because that's the direction that going more into that speaking lane, more into the writing lane, and then if I have a high value client, I can work with them. It takes a certain level to get to work with me. But I
Hmm.
just said that to myself this week. Any questions?
This has been awesome. I love to hear it though. But no, seriously though, because the speaking and all of that, you're on stage and people getting the awareness, that's
Yeah,
just even making your brand even bigger.
it is. It
But
is.
if
And
you bog down in the work, you can't even think about all that.
I know that too well. I know that too well. Okay, so as we close out, because we talked about networking, we talked a little bit about like mentorships and collectives and being in alignment. Somebody said associations, being in alignment with people who are doing the damn thing. Associating yourself with that. So let's talk about some books, some actual tools that people can walk away with. Do you know? Okay, so drop your books because I'm gonna drop the guy I'm reading right now, his series.
Okay. So some of the books that I talked about was The Law of Divine Compensation. And of course, Profit First, by Mike McAllowitz is a great one. Um, I didn't send you. We Should All Be Millionaires.
Yeah, by Rachel Rogers.
Yes, that's a great one as well. But Think and Grow Rich is a classic. Some
It
people
is.
don't like it, but that right there was one of the first books that really changed my awareness about money.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Tesler, she talks a lot about the energy of money. And
Mm-hmm.
then Happy Money is another good one. And let
Mm-hmm.
me just say this: we can do almost anything to make money, but I'll be honest, if you can make money in alignment, that makes life easier for you. Because if you have to drudge through it, all it does is zap your energy. That's
That
all
is
it does.
so where I am at now. I am not doing shit that is not in alignment. I can't do it. Like my spirit won't let me. So I'm so glad you said that about making money in alignment.
Yeah. Well, it's a betrayal of your spirit. I
Mhm.
mean, it really is because you get caught, and it's a scarcity mindset too, because you get caught, I'm making money from doing this, but I'm not happy. And it's like a cycle.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we have some questions. One is Khadijah says some daily reminders for us women to remind ourselves or remember our worth. Daily reminders.
I think one daily reminder is think about what you've already accomplished.
I was just gonna say that.
Great minds.
I was literally just gonna say that.
But
Yes.
no, think about what you've already accomplished. And if you're I'm assuming service-based business, think about somebody that you have really been able to help. You've really been able to help them solve their problem. And then it's just a matter of who that person is and finding more of those people.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And a tool, an exercise. I spoke about this on my IG live that I did this morning. And write down all of your accomplishments. Go as far back as you can remember, even when you graduated pre-K. Like my far back accomplishment was my first open heart surgery. And my very first memory in life, I was 2 years old and I was in a ceramics class after having my heart surgery. And the little plaque that I made, that, and I made it through that heart surgery because that's why I was in the hospital. And my mom, if she's still in here, she'll know exactly what I'm talking about because she was the only adult at the table outside of the teacher, I guess, in the class. But I made it through that heart surgery. So, like for me, it would start there and it would go up. So, write down a list of all of your accomplishments. And nothing is too small. Like, no accomplishment is too small. Starting out, did you lay out a plan first and then execute? You go, because my answer is not going to be.
So I would love to say absolutely yes, I had a plan from A to B. I would love to say that. I'll be honest with you. Yes and no. So my biggest thing was I focused on when I was leaving corporate America, I was like, let me get 6 months worth of pay. And I was like, if I and I kind of had it in my mind, if it don't work out, you can go back into corporate America. I would love to say I had a fully thought out plan, but no, I did not. Because another thing that I found in business too, you think it's gonna start one way, and the more you do it, and the more you start serving clients, things start shaping into a way that serves you better.
Mhm.
So I would say if you can't do nothing else, stack you a little bit of money. That was the best thing for me, because even if I had laid out a plan, because I wasn't really fully doing it for real, it would have changed up anyways. Once I
Mhm.
started really doing it and the day to day started to come, it's like, okay, oh, okay, you need to adjust that, shave that off a little bit. Okay, you need a person to be doing that. So it's just kind of unfold as I went. I would love to say yes, but I don't. You go, Tracy.
No, no. I think I'm more unconventional than anything, and it works for me. Um, no, no. My honestly, I believe in reason why. You have to understand your reason why, because oftentimes what's in front of you is not enough. It's not enough to keep going. Meaning, like your bank account isn't looking, or this dream that you have, or this business that you started, it's not pouring into your bank account just the way that you need it yet. If you don't have a clear, defined reason why, you will give up easily. For me, my children are always my reason why, even though they're grown. So, and then two, now that I'm older, I love, now that I've sold my company, I absolutely love what I do. I love pouring into us. I love seeing concepts realized, because people have encountered and experienced working with me. I love seeing what's up here and bringing all of that into a funnel, nice execution. And your win, you winning by experiencing me, is ultimately my win. So having a clear, defined reason why is what's going to keep you going. And it's better than a plan, because, like she just said, plans change. There's so many things that change along the way that you have to go back to the drawing board and readjust. But having a clear, defining reason why is going to be the thing that's going to keep you in it.
Thank you for saying that. I know that was like a heart space for me, because that was one of my things too. Is I realized subconsciously I was trying to help people in a way that I could not help my mother. And
Mm,
I realized that even though money can seem scary, it's so empowering when you have clarity and order to it.
mhm,
And I knew how good that made me feel. And like you say, I wanted to give that to other people.
mhm,
And especially us, because we're in a place too where we're at a point where we're making a lot of money. But I want to see us not just making money, but building sustainable wealth.
mhm, mhm. See, you have to have your reason why. And it makes us feel good to even articulate it out loud over and over and over. That's how much we embody it. Okay, so this question is, what's the best way to market yourself to be a part of a support team of a business owner slash entrepreneur? So the best way to market yourself.
So so I think the first thing, it kind of starts with what you're doing. So there are certain things that lend itself better than other things. So I would like to know a little bit more about what you're doing, but the first thing is just put yourself out there. Start with that. So
Mhm,
so I think, even though I'm not a big fan, but he said this and this rings true. Grant Cardone said the biggest thing going against every entrepreneur is obscurity. We already know that we will pay for anything,
mhm,
but people just don't know it's you who's doing it. So the biggest thing is how can you get out there what you're doing, starting
mhm,
with your network. For example, I don't know what you're doing, but if you're doing consulting, are you looking at the network that you already have, reaching out to those people? Your LinkedIn, is it set up? Because truth be told, your network, especially when you're just getting started out, that right there is going to be the fastest way to get something popping, because those people already know you.
mhm. I believe too, making yourself findable. And then in the process of making yourself findable, what makes you different from everybody else? What make Because a lot of the information that's out there, especially in the business realm, most of those people have not owned businesses. I've owned businesses for over 2 decades. I know what it's like for real. I know what it's like to, if this better work, because I need to pay my rent, I need to pay my mortgage, I need to pay these lights, we gotta buy, like this has to work. And
Yes.
oftentimes the people who is out there on social media that is that you seemingly may feel that are doing the damn thing, they're just really good at sales and marketing. It doesn't mean that they've done the damn thing. And so putting yourself out there, being consistent, showing up. Another thing that I do is in social media spaces, I go in and I claim my name. Even if I don't use the platform, I always go in and I claim my name. So just in case that platform becomes popping and I need to go over there and get to work, but also understanding the different algorithms against the different social media platforms. Social media, using it to your advantage because it's free.
Absolutely.
It's free.
But
So,
now, one thing let me say about that social media too. Like she said, obscurity. Just finding letting people know that you're out there. But also remember with social media, I got this tough lesson. Make sure that you are tracking your own email list. I
yeah,
lost a Facebook page that I
yeah,
had since 2009. I lost my personal page and my business page, but I have a 15,000 person email list.
yeah,
So always keep your own database
yes,
because at the end of the day, these platforms are great. They're great tools, but they're not ours at the end of the day.
yes. I'm a firm. Matter of fact, I'm put Mashika's website's already in the description if you want to be add to that 15,000. When I relaunched my brand or launched my personal brand and really started operating under that, my email list was or database was at I think it was 11,000, and I went in and I cut it down. I think I cut it down to I cut 4,000 and some change off of that because I wanted to really cultivate that particular email list. I wanted to nurture that email list. And then recently, if you were on my list, make sure you're checking your spam so you move things over to let them know it's not spam. You got to talk to your email provider, whatever it is. But in doing that, I sent out an e-blast probably a month and a half ago, and I said, if you don't want to be here, don't. It's okay, no hard feelings. Go ahead and go because I want to cultivate and pour into those that do. So take exactly get people off of social media and build up your own database. So I just dropped my website down there. So for people who want to be on my list, if you're not here, you can, sign up and you get two free business downloads once you sign up. Okay.
Awesome.
Any last words before we close out
This has
for
been
you?
awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I love it for you and us. And the more, it's so funny because one of my attorneys who helped me craft my exit strategy for my company, she was at the retreat that I did recently. And it's like, I really got some badass women that I know, and you being one of them. And I'm so glad when I ask for stuff, like you guys are always willing to be like, yes, I'm there. But I also think that you are of value to people who are my supporters or my audience because they can use your help, your energy, your service too. So I'm so glad you guys got the opportunity to experience Masheka and her energy and her boldness and her all of that I absolutely love. I can't even say enough.
I
I
know it. I'm yeah, I thought that was funny. She said Auntie tearing us up. But
she was.
it's out of love though. It's out of love because I want so much for us. I
Yeah.
want so much for us because I'm gonna be real with you. We believe in hypergamy. They damn sure ain't no they're not smarter than we are. They are not smarter, they are not better. It's just that we got the idea that they are, and they are not. They are not. We have too much going on intellectually to be struggling like we are.
Hmm. I just think they have a great PR team.
That's it. And that's all it is obscurity. Like he
Mhm.
said, the greatest thing working against us is obscurity. Because we already know people would pay for anything. I remember back before COVID, somebody was paying for air in a jar. People will pay for anything. They just got to know you selling it.
Right. Oh my God. That's right.
It was, you remember the guy over in the countryside in Ireland, I think, and he was selling air in a jar. And I thought, if you did buy the jar of air, when you
Mhm.
open it, how do you know?
Right.
But he had the audacity to sell it.
But what about the guy who was sharing miracle drops? The evangelist, the televangelist. He was selling miracle drops as water, like water, anointed water.
That's it. That's it. And all he did was went to the sink and prayed over the water.
If he even prayed over it.
But no, seriously though, people have the audacity, and that's really all it is.
Right. Right. Let the people know where to find you. And while she's doing that, I'm dropping the link again to my masterclass that starts on Wednesday. But let the folks know. And I'm also dropping the business pulse checklist. I mean, that checkpoint, like where is your business struggling? This is a free quiz that you can take, and I will send over your results. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So I am on TikTok, Masheka Turner. You can find me on Facebook, Bright Sky Services, Masheka Turner. You can find the link. I'm on LinkedIn at Masheka Turner. All the places I am Masheka, Masheka Turner. Instagram, all of the things. Thank you so much for having me. I really have enjoyed this conversation. And she's dropped my information. Like I said, get on the list. We can, talk about what's happening in the world right now. But I say everything that's going on there, there's a lot going on, but there's always something going on. There's
Mm-hmm.
always something going on. So, if it's in your heart to do it, do it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for being
No
here. Thank you
problem.
guys for joining us for this wonderful conversation. These are the kind of conversations that I absolutely love to have, that bring me joy, that are in alignment with me and where I'm at and where I'm growing to even more so. I hope you guys join us in community, that you are both on both of our email lists. Make sure you get on Mashika's as well, and I will see you guys next week, same time, same place. And Morgan will be joining us. And we're going to be talking about Black women versus Black women.
Ooh, I have to make sure that I pop in there for that.
Yes, we are gonna be having that kind of conversation, and how sometimes Black women can be our own worst enemies. So, but she's a therapist, so she's gonna have that angle as well. So it's gonna be a good
I
conversation.
love that because that's so discouraging,
Yeah.
especially when we know everybody else is against us. We can't be against each other.
Mm. You're just a mere reflection of me. I'm just a mere reflection of you. If I'm against you, that means ultimately I am against myself.
That's it. And we can't win. I mean, uh those tactics, that cutthroat stuff, we try to do that. We don't win like that. We really don't. We think we do because we've been taught, but it we don't win like that. Not for
From,
real.
from the words of the great Nene Leaks, you can't win being dirty. I will
That's
see
it.
y'all next week. Mashika, stay on.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.